Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us again tonight. I got royal apparently all of a sudden. Thanks for joining me again. I'm Paul Ramsey, and this is the fourth webinar in the free series on the profession of stage hypnotism. And tonight, we're going to talk about the heart of stage hypnotism. Now, in case you missed any of the earlier ones, and you're somehow catching this one late, here's what we did. I just did it again. Here's what I did. In the first webinar, I talked about the business of stage hypnotism. In the second webinar, I talked about the science of stage hypnotism. In the third webinar, I talked about the art of stage hypnotism. And tonight, I want to talk about the heart of stage hypnotism. And I really mean that. And I hope I will provide you with a proper explanation of what I'm trying to accomplish. I think that stage hypnotists are uniquely positioned in the world of entertainment. Now, as I explain this, I know that some of what I say, you're going to say, well, Paul, other entertainers do that, and I recognize it, but I'll try to get the main part of it out, okay? I think that the wonderful, wonderful thing about being a stage hypnotist is that you have the chance at the very minimum of going out on stage and sharing an experience with people that's fun and unique and different, and getting them to laugh and enjoy themselves and forget the rest of the world for an hour and a half. Now, that's probably what most entertainers would say, whether they're comedians or musicians, right? Here's the difference. That's the minimum. What you also have the opportunity to do is, in delivering a good product to your audience, because it's hypnosis, you have the opportunity to really open people's minds to the possibility of what hypnosis might have in store for them. You have the opportunity as a stage hypnotist to represent your profession in a way that is fun and exciting and surprising, but you can also do it in a way that's genuine and that's caring and that encourages people to consider how powerful their minds are. And if you deliver all that well, then you have a chance to change someone's mind or open someone's mind. It could be either or. To either open someone's mind to the possibility that they might go see a hypnotist and use hypnosis to make their life better. Or for those people, there are plenty of people that will come to a hypnosis show thinking that they would never let themselves be hypnotized, that they would never let someone do that to them, is what a lot of times they'll say. And when they see it for the first time in person, and they get a different impression of it, it changes their mind and they leave thinking, maybe I will give that a try. And if they go and they quit smoking and they live a little longer, in your own small way, you contributed to that. If they lose weight and they get their heart healthier and they change their lifestyle, you contributed to that. If it's even something as simple as they sleep better, and we know how important sleep is for the immune system and the restorative processes of the body, you contributed to that. You have a chance to be an entertainer and have fun on stage, and you can make it a gift to other people that changes the quality and in some cases even the duration of their lives. There are not many other, I don't know if there are any other forms of entertainment that do that. And that, to me, is the heart of stage hypnotism when it's at its very best. Now, we know there are some people out there that aren't approaching it that way. And that's fine, right? Everyone has their own choice, right? Everyone's got their own right to approach the art form how they want to. But, I said in the last webinar, this webinar series, I wanted it to be a way to bring some information to you if you're considering getting into stage hypnotism, to help give back to people. People gave me advice when I got started. People spent time with me. I still remember Steve Taubman from Vermont, CJ Johnson from Texas, Bob Chase, who initially trained me. You know, people gave their time and they gave advice freely. And I feel like that's the least I can do, is spend some time on these webinars doing that. And then on top of that, if in doing that, you feel how serious I am about this and you feel that this is a good vibe, right? Maybe I'm the guy to train you. Maybe I'm the guy to help you get into this industry and get into this work. If that's going to be the case, I need you to understand that this is how I approach it. This is the way I look at it. I see stage hypnotism as something that comes with responsibility, not just the freedom of getting up there and being as funny as you can be at whatever cost it takes, you know? And so if you just want to, you know, be crazy or, you know, I don't even know how to describe it, but I think somehow if you're thinking about getting stage training and what I'm saying just is completely going over your head or seems corny to you, or then like, I'm not the guy to train you. And that's okay. That's fine. There's other trainers out there. But if you like the idea that you could get into an industry and make a good living doing something that does what I've talked about, that entertains people, opens their minds, gets them to think differently about themselves and the power of their mind, maybe gets them to have a new and different experience. If you like that kind of stuff, then I'm the guy you should be training with. And I don't know what else to say about that really, other than that's really important to me. And I just feel so blessed. You know, as I've said before, I've been doing this for over a decade now. And before I got into stage hypnotism, you know, I had been an English teacher for 3 years. And then I worked at a university. I was a student affairs professional at a university. I did that for 5 years. You know, I had never done anything for more than 5 years. And now here I am 11 years later, and I don't see any kind of horizon approaching me in terms of this work. I feel like I can keep doing it. I can do it for a long time. I can do it at a high level. I can keep learning. That's another thing that's great about stage hypnotism. Part of the heart of this profession is there's so much to do that the really good stage hypnotists and consulting hypnotists that I've met are the people who love to keep learning more induction, learning new suggestions, learning new patterning, all this different kind of stuff, learning the different ways to apply hypnosis in different situations. It's a wonderful job in that respect. It's a wonderful thing that you can get into that keeps you fresh when other people are still showing up at the same cubicle each day and learning the same things over and over again. You don't have to do that. You don't have to live that way. So it's a pretty cool thing. It's a pretty special thing. So I think if you know, the heart of a stage hypnotist is one in which you got to be somewhat playful, right? You're creating, you're playing with people on stage in the truest, most friendly way, I would hope. I've seen some stage hypnotists that don't. They do it at the expense of their volunteers on stage. I would hope that you would not want to do that. But if you like the idea of being playful with people on stage, of bringing out their inner creativity, of bringing out these inner characters that they possess, that they're just waiting to transform into, you can do that. If you like the idea of having people come up to you after the show is done and saying, I never thought I could do this, but I just did this on stage and I just don't know what to do about that. You know, like it could be little things like, one of my favorite stories about my job is I was at a university once and the show was coming to a close. And one of the things I do in my show that's, as far as I know, it's different from other stage hypnosis shows, but there's probably someone else who does it or some variation of it, is I have the people who are on stage at the end of the show, I have them briefly forget everything that happened in the show. And then I have a way to activate remembering. And what that does is it provides one final fun moment for the audience to see that moment of realization. But what it also does is it's a convincer for the people on stage, because sometimes if you just let them leave, you take them out of hypnosis and you let them leave, they genuinely think that they didn't get hypnotized, some of them. And so when you build in a specific way for them to have that aha moment, it convinces the people that they were really fully hypnotized, and then they don't come up and argue with you about it afterward and stuff. So I'm at this college in Florida, and I do a 90-minute show, and about an hour and 15 minutes of that is with people on stage. So I get to the end, and I've built in the part where they forget, and then I emerge them from hypnosis. And then what I do is I work the line, and they get a little uppity, because they think nothing's happened, and they're like, when's the show start? And you sort of work it and milk it. And so this one young woman, as soon as I emerge them all, this one young woman immediately becomes visibly uncomfortable. And I think, well, that's interesting. So I start trying to work toward her sooner, because I don't want her to be uncomfortable. So I ask one young person, talk with them a little bit, and I send them off the stage. I ask the next person, and I send them off the stage, and then I get to her. And what happens is when they walk off the stage, that's when they remember. So I get to her and I say, hey, you look a little uncomfortable. What's going on? And she has, at this point, she has turned away as much as she can in her seat from the audience. She doesn't want to see the audience at all. And she says, pretty quietly, I had to get the microphone right down near. I couldn't really get the microphone enough so they could hear it. She says, why am I up here? And I said, well, you were up here with us in this stage hypnosis show. And she goes, no, I would never. I go, yeah, you've been up here for over an hour. She goes, no. She got a little bit, she goes, no, you don't understand. I have terrible, terrible stage fright, and I would never come up on this. She's turned, she won't even really look at me when she goes, and I would never come up on stage like this in front of all these people. This is terrible. And I actually got happy inside, because I understood immediately the power that this moment could have for her. And so I said, I want you to listen to me very carefully. So I kind of am now switching back into a trance mode, right? So I want you to listen to me very carefully. Just look at me now. And she turned and looked at me. I said, don't worry about anything else. Just focus on what I'm sharing with you right now. I said, in a moment, I'm going to tell you to go ahead and leave. When you do, you stand up and walk down the stairs. And when you walk down the stairs and your very first footstep touches the floor at the bottom of the stairs, you're going to realize that tonight is a life-changing moment for you. You're going to realize that you don't ever have to be afraid of being on stage again. You're going to realize that when you are on stage, people appreciate you and they celebrate you, and the stage is a fun place to be. Now, I know that they may not make sense to you right now, but when you walk down the stairs and your very first footstep touches the floor, it will all make sense in a way that's new and fresh and wonderful to you. And I'm so grateful that you were here with me tonight. Now, you go ahead and leave the stage now. And she stood up and she walked down across the stage. She went down the stairs. And when her footstep touched the floor, she looked like she was struck by a lightning bolt. And then she turned and she smiled at me. And 500 people in the audience stood up and gave her a standing ovation as they had watched this transformation take place. Best job in the world. Best job in the world right there, to be able to entertain and every now and then get these small moments where you can really make a difference for someone. Now, I didn't do therapy for her. I just told her to think about things differently. That's all it takes sometimes. But because of the trance experience, they're ready for that, right? And you have that ability. That, I think, is part of the heart of stage hypnosis. And that's what you have the chance to do. So I hope that illustrates to you what I'm trying to talk about here and the potential that stage hypnotism has for you to make a good living, love what you're doing, have fun doing what you're doing, sort of entertain yourself as you're entertaining others, really. Excuse me. And make a difference for people. It is such a great job. It's such a great job. Even if you don't want to do it full time, if you want to take it seriously, but you want to do it part time and maybe just work a regional, area, great. It can enrich your life. You can make some money. You can help others. Still, great job. So I think if you're thinking about whether stage hypnotism is a good fit for you, that's part of what I would encourage you to think about. I suppose that may take some time and some reflection. So, but I don't want to keep, harping on that too much. I want to be able to give you some time. If there's some last minute questions, you can put them in the comments area here on the host page, or you can tweet them to me. As I've said, each one of these webinars, if you want to use Twitter, my Twitter handle is at Ramsey Media LLC. So that's RAMSAYMEDIA LLC. Or you can leave a comment right in the comments area here on the host page, which I'm checking out right now. No new comments on the host page. Let's check out the Twitter feed. How much time do you spend doing stage hypnotism versus consulting with clients? That's a good question. I guess I never really brought that up before. If you're going to do the stage training program with me, that's a certification program just for stage training. It will not prepare you to do client work. Now, I am a certified instructor for the National Guild of Hypnotists, and I do offer a consulting hypnotist program. I teach the Guild standard curriculum, and I have an online support site for that and stuff. That's a separate training. If you're interested in that, if you'd like to do client work in addition to stage hypnotism, you need to do that as a separate training and additional training and get certified. So the training program that all of this webinar stuff has been in support of is just a stage hypnotist training program. It will prepare you to do stage hypnosis, and that's it. But to answer the question, I spend most of my time doing stage hypnotism. And that's just sort of the way it worked out for me. It took off faster in the beginning, and I was having a lot of fun doing it. And quite frankly, early on, I was making even with smaller amounts of work, I was making more money than with consulting hypnotism. So it was a pretty easy decision to focus more on that, and that's where I've stayed focused. So I probably generate 90% of my income. I'm guessing off the top of my head, maybe that's just what it feels like, but probably 90% of my income is stage hypnotism income. And then client, it's got to be a little bit less than that, because then I've got client work and I've got training work. And then I even have coaching, which I do consider a separate revenue source. So I do personal coaching with people. I do hypnosis with people. I do consulting hypnosis with people. I do stage hypnosis, coaching, and training. So really I have like 4 different revenue sources. Definitely most of the time is spent doing stage hypnotism. Now I've been doing it for over a decade, so I'm getting to a point where I feel like I'm maybe a little bit ready to purposefully unskew it really, balance it more. I want to do more training, hence launching this program. I want to do more client work. I've always enjoyed the client work I've done, but I want to do more. And I definitely want to do more coaching. I love doing coaching with people, helping them improve their quality of life and set goals for themselves and create success in those areas. So I'm working toward transitioning everything to a little bit more of a balanced array. But I'll tell you, the stage stuff is just so fun. It's so fun. Every night is a little different. I like to travel. When I grew up, I didn't travel a lot. My family kind of did always the like stay-at-home vacations when they took their vacation time. So I love that I get to fly around the country and stay in hotels and drive rental cars. Like driving rental cars feels like a test drive every time to me of these different kinds of cars, you know? So I enjoy that. I love the opportunities that I've got. Like I mentioned the Bud Light experience before when I got to be part of Whatever USA. And like, there I am, you know, working the event and I look and there's Lil Jon up on stage doing his thing, you know, and these big famous DJs and rappers and all this kind of stuff. And that was an incredible experience for me. I love doing that kind of stuff. So I think for a bit longer, I will stay more focused in stage hypnotism. And slowly but surely, I'll work it toward a more balanced mix. So what else? What's the minimum audience size? What's the medium? I don't know what. I don't know if I'm just a little brain dead today or what. The minimum audience size you need to make a show really work. Okay, great question too. So I have done I almost get to a point where if you get below 50 people, in my head, I frame it as a demonstration. You're giving a demonstration. Now, technically, it still can be a show, I guess. But when you get into small venue spaces and you get fewer than 50 people, it's difficult, in my experience, to be able to have a really good working show. Because once you get down to 50, what tends to happen is out of that 50, the majority of them still came just to watch, right? The majority of them, let's say, 40, 45 people come to watch. That leaves you with like 5, maybe 10 people if you're lucky. And a lot of times when you get down around 50 people, it's like 5. So if you have like 5 people who are considering being hypnotized, you put them through the paces, and let's say you lose 2 it doesn't work for, 3 it does work for, but 1 only goes into light level, the other 2 go into medium to deep, right? It's hard to put on a good show with 2 people. I've done it before. What I tend to do is shift it to this idea of, okay, we're just going to do a demonstration, because it becomes this thing of like, and you'll do this, and you'll do this, and you'll do this, and you'll do this, and it gets a little weird. I think ideally, you'd like to target venues and groups that you know can at least give you 100 people, so that you're much more likely to have 10 to 15 at a sample size like that, 10 to 15 who are willing to try, ending up with 5 or 6, worst case scenario. Usually you'll have more like 7 or 8. If you have 5 or 6, you can put on a show with 5 or 6 people. You can put on a fun show with 5 or 6 people. But it is somewhat of a numbers game, And then it's funny. The other thing that I wasn't prepared for a long time is you get to a point after a while we start doing big crowds. And I mean, I had a crowd. I mentioned the other night. I had a crowd once. I did a homecoming weekend at the University of Northern Iowa, and there were 1,600 people in that audience. 1,600 people. And, you know, I ended up with almost 300 people on stage because I do things differently, again, than most stage hypnotists do. Um, so it added another 10 minutes to my show, just getting those 300 people on stage and weeding them out and getting them down to a working group of like 25 people from 300. Took me about 10 minutes. Not ideal. You want to keep things flowing and stuff, you know, but that was the first time that had ever happened to me. So I kind of had to just work it out in real time. But it was pretty cool to be in a room, double-decker balcony, 1,600 people. And when 1,600 people laugh, that's a pretty neat feeling. That's a really neat feeling. It's very cool. It's very nice. I think it's, in a whole different way, it's very nice. You know, I have a school in Connecticut that is a college, and it's an all-women's college, and they're very small. And so when I go down there, a good night of attendance for them is 45 people. And so for several years, I've been there where that's, you know, 45 people. And again, I think you just shift your mentality to, okay, this isn't so much a show as a demonstration, but you do that and you bring it into your heart in a good way. And you think, all right, so we're going to have as much fun as we can for the next hour and a half with these 45 people. And you learn how to shift your approach a little bit, and you sort of take a more informal approach. This is the way I do it. And you just enjoy yourself. And in that case where, you know, at this particular school, you're not in a big theater. You're literally in it's outside of the dining hall in what is really a lounge. And so it's almost like a big living room. And you just make it that homey, informal thing. We're all hanging out together. We're going to explore some hypnosis. We're going to have a good time. And when I've done that, in that case, even though the sample size is only like 45, I'm able to get 10 to 12 people to go into hypnosis. That's a huge success rate when you think about it like that. 10 to 12 people in hypnosis, and keep most of them, keep 9 to 10 of them, and have a lot of fun. And for students who go to a small school like that, they don't have big budgets. It's a pretty special thing to be able to have a hypnotist, because they don't get to have entertainers a lot at smaller schools. They just don't have the budget. So they're really happy and excited to be able to do that. And it makes you feel good to be able to share that with them. So, you know, you learn, to go back to the original question, you learn over time how to make, it's not so much you have a cutoff where you go, if I don't have this, then I can't do it. You learn how to shift your approach to make the number group work, to make the sample size work as best you can. I think in 11 years, I've had 3 times where I've had to cancel a show. And I never canceled before. It was always, we started the show, I did my very best, and it just wasn't going to happen. And you have to say, okay, gang, here's the deal. We can't get people hypnotized because we have such a small sample tonight. I did a show at a little tiny independent theater in Portland, Maine once. And, you know, they did their best, but they just didn't sell enough tickets. And so at showtime, there was 25 people in the theater. And I was like, these 25 people came here, and I'm going to do my best for them because it's Friday night and they were hoping to come here and have fun. And I'm going to do the best I can. And so I went through my routine. Well, out of the 25, literally 3 were willing to try to be hypnotized. One of the 3 you could tell was like, well, he wasn't really into it, so it didn't work for him. Out of the 2 that were really into it, 1 worked, 1 didn't. And then the 1 that worked, I couldn't get them any further. I couldn't get them really beyond, I couldn't even get them to lose their own name. When we got to that point, I like to use that as a benchmark a lot for how well they're doing. And I couldn't get them to lose their own name. And so then I was like, all right, then we're done. If I can't get you to lose your own name, I'm not going to really be able to get you to do much. So what I did that night, some of you are probably now wondering, like, well, what did you do? So what I did was I just was very frank with people, and I said, look, here's the deal. We can't put on a show with only one person, and that, and that's okay. But here's what we can do. I know a lot of you weren't really interested in being on stage in a hypnosis show, but maybe you're a little curious about what it's like to be hypnotized. You just don't want to goof around on stage. Does that resonate with any of you? And I saw heads nodding. And I said, okay, look, you paid for my time and I'm here, so I'm going to give you my time. So let's do this. And I turned it into a demonstration. And I said, I'm going to do pure hypnosis for relaxation, for stress relief. I'm going to give all of you basically a hypnotic spa treatment right now. And if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. But if you think it might be nice to do it, let's do it right now. And so I did a 25-minute hypnosis for relaxation session with everybody in the room. And then when we were done, I said, okay, I said, how many of you feel better now than when we started? And some people raised their hands. And I said, does anyone have any questions? And I did a little Q&A for like 5-10 minutes. Some people had follow-up questions. I really made it like a demonstration. And then at the end of that, I said, I have one more thing I want to do for you because I'm so grateful that you came here tonight. I said, here's what I'm going to do. If you go to my website, I said, and my website at paulramsey.com is my entertainment website. I said, if you go to my website, there's a place where you can send me an email. There's an active link to email me. I said, go to paulramsey.com, click on the link to send me an email, and just send me an email that says, hi, Paul, I was at your show in Portland the other night. Thanks so much. I said, and I'll know I told you to do this. I said, just send me that, and I will email you back with, actually it was, I still had CDs at the time. I said, and in the email, put your mailing address. I said, and what I'll do is I will mail you a relaxation CD with 3 different hypnosis relaxation programs on it. Excuse me. I said, and normally I sell that for $9.95. I'm going to mail it to you for free. They literally clapped because they knew I was being authentic and they knew I was being genuine. They clapped. Out of the 25 people that were there, only like 6 actually did it. So it didn't put me out of pocket too much. The CDs with the case and the label and everything, they cost me like $3 to make at the time, plus postage, so maybe like $4.25. And so I sent, those out, and everybody was happy. Nobody, not a single person asked for their money back. They all felt like they had been taken care of. And hopefully, again, it comes back to the central thing I started with tonight about the heart of stage hypnotism. Hopefully some of them then listened to those CDs and got a value from that. And maybe if they did, maybe they found a hypnotist in Portland, a consulting hypnotist for all I know, and maybe they went to that hypnotist and quit smoking or lost weight or stopped chewing their fingernails or improved their sleep. Who knows? But if even one person did it, all of that was worth it to me because it made a difference for somebody. So that's just another story. Forgive the long story, but I hope it illustrates, again, how even sometimes something that you might think was like a bad thing that happened can really be a wonderful thing the way that it all turns out. That's the way I look at my job all the time. All the time, like there's always something that we can make good come from this. Every experience can always have something beautiful that comes from it. And that's an important philosophy for me in the way that I choose to live my life over and over again. So, all right, I'm just going to check out, let's see. Oh, that's it for questions. Thursday night is a quiet night, apparently. A lot of people may be out having a little beverage. All right. Well, here's the deal. So we're going to wrap up our time, okay? I really wanted tonight's to be a little shorter anyway because I just wanted to try to convey that sense of how I look at stage hypnotism philosophically and give you a chance to think about that. And that's it. Okay. There's no more webinars. There are some more. I'm going to send a couple follow-up emails to you just to tune you in to some other resources that are at the BestHypnosisTraining.com website. I hope you enjoy them. There's some blog articles, some other videos. And then if you're still interested in stage training, if you feel aligned with what I have shared with you and what I've told you about myself, and you think that I would be the right stage trainer for you, you can use the active links that are on. They're on. I'm losing track of my thought. There's links that will get you through. You can see the course syllabus. I'll send an email with it to get you back on the path. But it's all on the site. The course syllabus. I am one of only 3 licensed career schools in the state of New Hampshire for hypnotism. All right, we have that credential. I'm a board certified hypnotist. I'm a certified instructor with the National Guild, and now I've built this program myself. It's my own stage training program. But again, I was an English teacher. I have a master's degree in secondary education. I know how to build curriculum. I know how to teach people. I am absolutely confident that I am on the path to creating what will at some point definitely be the best stage hypnotism training program in the United States, maybe in the world. It's not going to happen overnight. I'm looking for people who want to grow with me, who want to evolve with me as professionals, and who want to keep in touch, who want mentorship. I'm not looking for people who want to just do a class and then be done and live on an island, professionally speaking. You know, I want to have people that are looking to build relationships, people that are looking for mentorship, people who want to grow and keep learning within a community of passionate hypnotists. That's what I'm really looking to create here at BestHypnosisTraining.com. So hopefully, again, that feels good for you, that aligns for you, that feels congruent for you. Get in touch with me. All right, if you're interested in an enrollment interview, you can call me at my new phone number that I set up. Hold on, I'm going to get it here any second. There we go. You can call me at 617-545-3276 if you want an enrollment interview for the Stage Hypnotist Training Program. That program starts on Monday, and it's limited to 9 people, only 9 people. We'll do more in the future, obviously, but if you want to get in on this first program and be in on the ground floor with this program, 9 people is all we're taking, all I'm taking. And there's a video on the enrollment page that explains the tuition cost and everything you get for your tuition fee. That's there. I don't want to be redundant and repeat all that now and take your time. Again, I want this to be the free webinar for you and not a pure sales thing. That's really not what I want. So I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to say thank you so much for spending this time with me. Please stay in touch with me through Twitter, through my Facebook fan page, through my Google Plus page, at BestHypnosisTraining.com, whatever works best for you, at LinkedIn, whatever's good for you. All right, stay in touch. Let me know how I can be of service, and I hope that I get to train some of you and we get to go out and have fun and make the world a little bit better place, bringing the heart of stage hypnotism to people and helping them open their minds to what we have to offer. So thank you so much. I'm Paul Ramsey. Take care.